Welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we have a lot to talk about. We're going to start off with XRP because XRP in the last 24 hours has seen a lot of movement, and to be honest with you, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So we're going to have to try to figure out why is XRP moving so much, and if you're buying it, then you'll probably want to know a little bit about what we're going to talk about. And then right after that, it's going to be very short on XRP. So we'll kick it off with that. Then we're going to dive into Bitcoin, Ethereum, EGLD, and Cardano as we usually do. We'll talk about all those. I have a little bit of information for you on the EGLD side in addition to TA, some things that you want to know as far as dates go when it comes to staking and validation and all that stuff. So we'll go over all this. We'll try to not make it super long, and that's about it. All right, so let's get started. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, all that jazz. Check out the Twitter, check out the Twitch. All the links are in the description. You can find whatever you need there. Okay, so to start off, the first thing that I want to do is I want to pull up the XRP chart. All right, so if we look at XRP, you'll see what happened in the last 24 hours is pretty crazy. Okay, basically we have seen from April the 4th, so maybe even a little bit more than 24 hours, maybe like 36 hours, we're pretty much seeing that the price went up a total of 88%. All right, almost 100%. It went up 88.3%, and now it has dropped down to where the price is about 70% up from where it was on April the 4th. So that's a pretty massive increase with XRP, with no really visible reason as to why this has happened. Now, one of the things to know about XRP is just earlier this month, earlier in the month of April, they came to a decision, the Ripple company came to a decision with the SEC where they weren't going to release information to the public that was being communicated between the two of them via email. So that's a little weird that after a discussion like that, you see the price go up 80%, right? Because that means that the public's getting less information and now the price is going up. I guess the only thing that could be said from that is that maybe it means less bad press in the future until some decision's made, and that could be good for the price. That means that people might start coming in. Now, that's a possibility, but one thing that I want you to really look at with XRP, all right, is when we go into the larger time frames. So if we go into the very large time frame here, with XRP, it was in what seemed like a very big consolidation, and it's just kept moving up from there. Now, if you look at this entire consolidation, there's something very clear that you see here. You start to notice that there was a big consolidation pattern all the way from early November, all right, of 2020 actually. So for a whole year, it's been in this consolidation. So let's look at the price from here, and let's do our normal, right? We're going to draw a consolidation triangle. If you call this a gigantic consolidation triangle, and this is what a lot of people look at when it comes to, time frames of price movement. Now, if you look at this, basically what this tells you is that when you're looking at this big consolidation triangle, and we can even bring this down a little bit to kind of the bigger candles. Okay, and if we look at it this way and we adjust this a little, let's make it come down to about here, right? We're trying to go to the tip of a few things. I'm going to zoom in and show you why I'm making this triangle the way that I am and what this may have to do with the price movement. All right, so if we look at a consolidation triangle like this on XRP, the one thing that we see here very clearly is that the triangle that we've made is hitting the peaks, right? It hit the top peak, it hit this major one here, right? It hit that, and it was in the middle of another peak here. Now, what I think started to happen, and you'll see this, the bottom line has a lot of relevance because there's a lot of times that this was not only a support, but it was also a resistance here. So it kind of confirms that the bottom line is accurate as well. Now, if you're looking at this consolidation triangle, basically what you would have seen, and if you're like XRP investor or even a short-term investor, you're going to notice something clear when you look at a large consolidation triangle like this. You're going to see that we're getting close to the apex of the triangle, and also on the 1st of April, it started to break out of this triangle. And then on the 5th of April, it had a pretty big green candle out of this triangle. This, I think, could have brought in a lot of speculative investment because people are looking at a multi-year consolidation, and it seems to look like it's about to break out. So in a situation like this, if you have a lot of speculators starting to buy the asset, the price can go up very quickly, especially because XRP is not on a lot of exchanges. right? It's been delisted from a lot of exchanges. There's not a lot of press about it. You know it's going through a lawsuit right now with the SEC. There is literally no news that has come out that would warrant this type of an 88-90% price increase. It looks to be pure speculation. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and if I am wrong on that and you're into XRP, put it in the comments here on YouTube and let us know, what am I missing? What am I missing here that proves this is not pure speculation? Because that's what it looks like to me, which means that XRP is in a very dangerous spot right now, because you've just had a lot of people make a lot of money and they may not have sold up here, or up here. So if they've been holding since down here, or even if they bought in this area and they've been holding, now it's looking like a pretty good time to sell. And that's dangerous for people getting in XRP right now. So I'd be very, very cautious of this. This seems super dangerous, and I would not be shocked if we saw something similar to what we saw in these prior pumps, which is a pretty quick consolidation back down, possibly all the way back down, touching the top of this triangle. Because one thing that you'll know after looking at large consolidations over long periods of time is that when you break out of them, there is a high probability that the price will come back down and test the top of that consolidation pattern. Now, that could not only happen, but if this was pure speculation, and if any bad news comes out of the SEC and out of the lawsuit, then you could very well see not only a downtrend, but a much more major downtrend in the longer term. So the reason I wanted to bring up XRP here is because I think this is a super dangerous time to be buying XRP. I think that if people had bought XRP already, this might be a smart time to take at least some profits, like maybe pull out your initial investment so you no longer have you no longer have any skin in the game other than profit. You've taken out your initial investment. It's a safe bet for you now. So this could be a time with XRP to consider something like that. Granted, I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe this thing will go up to $3 tomorrow. I don't know. I'm just saying, to me, it looks very dangerous. And personally, the last time I bought XRP was down here at around 20 cents, and I sold it up here at around 75 cents. And that was a few months ago. Now, basically, since that time, I haven't bought it again. I sold it at the top because I knew that a lot of people were going to be buying it for an airdrop. So I bought it low, and then after it went up for the airdrop, I sold it at 75 cents, made a decent profit. It turned out to be a great trade. I would be very careful here. Just be wary. If you buy up here, you could end up being a bag holder if the price drops, and it's just not a place you want to be. So I wanted to bring it up here so any of my viewers who are watching what's happening with XRP at least see this side of the coin. I can't tell you what to do, and I could be completely wrong, but I can only give you my reservations. It seems like a very dangerous trade at the moment. Super overextended on RSI at the daily. If we go to the 4-hour chart, it's also very overextended on the RSI on the 4-hour. There's a lot of volume that's just recently come in with this trade, and there is barely any support until 60 cents. So for this to become actually a valid price range that it keeps trading at, you're going to need to see a lot more trading at around $1, anywhere from 80 cents to $1. And right now, your moving averages show that going down to 78 cents could happen very quickly. That's where the 20 exponential moving average is on the 4-hour chart. And then you have a baseline of about 55 cents. That's where the 200 exponential moving average is. And that just happens to be right at the top of this triangle, which is what I said seems like a likely place for this to consolidate if it was a pure speculation move, which it seems like it was. I mean, I'm not seeing any indication on any news sites or anywhere that would explain this other than speculation. And usually when there's a speculative pump, there is then going to be a profit-taking dump. So just be careful of that. That is all for XRP. Let's go ahead and move on. And we're going to go to Bitcoin. All right, now with Bitcoin, we have been talking about something. In the last video, I brought up a head and shoulders pattern to you. So I've gone ahead and drawn that head and shoulders pattern in. And I've also put that on my Twitter a few days ago so you could see it. This is actually an inverse head and shoulders pattern. And this head and shoulders pattern, if it plays out, has a price target of about 70,000. Now that price target could not be hit until, it may not be hit until mid-April, towards the end of April. We really don't know. And this could just be the beginning of this right shoulder. If you'll notice here, the right shoulder on this side started on March 13th and ended on March 20th. It was about 7 days. So far, we've only gone from April 3rd to April 6th, so about 3 days. So we could be another 4 days out, which means that it could look something like this. You know, you could end up having a pattern like this a bit. Hang on, let's move this over. You know, it could look more like that. You know, maybe we haven't had the dip of this right shoulder yet. Right now, I can't really say that this is a complete inverse head and shoulders pattern. Some people may say that, all right, this move right here is the right shoulder. And it very well could be. If we have a breakout here to 70K, then it pretty much validates that this little shoulder here is the right shoulder. But to be on the safe side, you always want to be conservative and say that there is the opportunity of the price to go all the way down on Bitcoin to the 200 exponential moving average, the 200 EMA, and this to get pushed out to about 5 to 7 days, which means that you could look at a much wider right shoulder like this, and we may not have the drop for another day or two. So we could still see Bitcoin go all the way back down to around 55,000, 55,300, somewhere around there. And if we see that and we start to see the recovery over the next few days, that's going to be very, very telling. And granted, this shoulder could be stretched out even further. So we have to keep an eye on it for now. But it does look very interesting because the price is starting to reach this red line here, which is the base of this trading channel. And pretty much every time it's hit this line, we have seen a price move on the upside. So you saw here it hit the red line and then the price moved up. You saw here it hit the red line and then the price moved up. And we can go back further. I think we saw it one other time. Yeah, we saw it here. Price hit the red line. Price moved up, price hit the red line, price moved up. So this has been quite an accurate line as far as upward price movement goes. So seeing another price drop around this area as we start touching the red line, coming down to, let's say, here, and then the price coming back up slowly, it's a very possible scenario to occur. So keep an eye on it. I think that it's something to watch. It's something that we have a lot of previous history calling for. So it's very interesting to see. No major news on Bitcoin as far as I can tell. Everything looks pretty normal in the market. We haven't had any companies come out say we bought a lot of Bitcoin. MicroStrategy, they did buy like, you know, another 200 or something Bitcoin. So they're always adding to their Bitcoin portfolio, which is not really surprising at this point. It does give a lot more credence to the asset that it doesn't really matter where the price is going. They are continually buying when they have liquid cash reserves. And that's, you know, you're talking about the CEO of MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor. This guy's a rocket scientist from MIT. He is not a noob. Like, he knows what he's doing. And on top of that, he has built this company on his own, and he is one of the longest standing CEOs of any company in the United States. He is a very accomplished person. And not only does he have a very thorough understanding of concepts like thermodynamics and other things related to just rocket science, I mean, to have that type of knowledge and branch out into finance and find that Bitcoin, come to the conclusion that Bitcoin is one of the best assets for the long term, not only because of its model, but because of the way that it can be decentralized and not be controlled and manipulated. It's pretty interesting to see. So I have a lot of faith in the long-term aspects of Bitcoin, and in the short term, I really want to see this head and shoulders pattern play out. So I would love to see a drop to about 55. There's no way to confirm it just yet. We could just go sideways and completely invalidate this pattern and then just have a much slower move up. That's a possibility too. But we'll keep an eye on it. That's pretty much it for Bitcoin. So we will move on now to Ethereum. Ethereum, we have been looking at a Fibonacci retracement that we created the last time. Now with Ethereum, basically the main thing that we saw the last time was we saw the price coming up to about this level. And at that time I told you it's very likely that the price will drop and it'll need to get support at this 0.5 line, which was about 2050, 2040. And if not there, it'll need to get support on the 20 exponential moving average and keep moving up. Now that's exactly what's happened, and this is looking really bullish because if you look at the 20 exponential moving average, it has been hitting solid support on this moving average the 3 times that it's touched. And as a result, the 20 exponential moving average has continued to move up. Now the price is sitting at 2,124, and it is still getting support on that 20 exponential moving average. This is telling me that Ethereum is at a point now where it needs to make a decision. It hit this top line. This is the 0.382 line, which sits at 2145. All right, it hit this line once. It hit it again, and it actually went a little higher, so that's a good sign. It went up a bit. And now it is building even more volume in this range. And the next thing we're really going to be looking for is to see if it can break this and flip it as support. If we can see it break above 2150 and then flip the 2150 line as support, that's going to be very, very bullish for the coin. But remember, it has had a big move recently. So seeing this big move, it could come back down to the 2000 level and stay kind of in this range for some time, because the amount of volume it puts in here is really going to determine how much support we have. It's a concept that you're well aware of if you've been watching this channel. And right now what you can see is that Ethereum is lacking support above the 1700 level. It has a good amount of support actually here. So it has a lot of support at around 1700. It's lacking the support at 1850. And then after that, the support is just not that much. It's on an uptrend, meaning we're getting more support at this 2000 level. That means that now that the price has broken 2000, people are buying Ethereum. More people are feeling more confident in it. And that is a good thing in one sense, that you're having more buyers coming in, you're having more buy volume, but it also is a possibility that you could have another small correction for some people who bought early to take their profits. That's always a possibility. And if that was to happen, one of two things could occur, right? The price could move up a bit more, and then you see a little sell-off where people are selling, and then you see the price stabilize, and then it keeps going up. This means that not a lot of people are selling in this range, but you do have enough people buying here to keep the price moving up. So that's a good sign. What could also happen is that the price moves up a bit, and then it has a massive sell-off. And if that occurs, I'm expecting a lot of support at this line here, which is the same one we just recently got support. This would be at about the 2040 level. Possibly a dip down to 2000 is, it's possible it would hit this trend line, but it would also hit the level where this moving average, the 50 exponential, is sitting. It's almost right at 2000. So that's another interesting area to look at. There's always the possibility of that. I would say that it's likely for that to happen, and if that does happen, it's probably not going to last very long. If we do see that Ethereum makes a dip down to 2000, it'll probably be a fairly fast recovery, and I'm assuming it'll stay with this trend line, because we have been holding that trend line pretty well for some time. If you look at this line here, since we had that breakout in late March 25th, so a couple of weeks ago, this trend line has really been pretty solid, and now we're getting to the point where the 200 exponential moving average is not too far below that trend line. So if the price keeps appreciating, the 200 EMA is going to come up and it's going to meet this trend line. It's going to be a really solid trend line to follow, because Ethereum has already gone through a massive consolidation. So it's not quite ready for another one just yet. You still have a lot of people that are going to be looking for much higher price appreciation, because a lot of the people holding Ethereum did not sell during this entire consolidation. You know, I was one of them. I was holding Ethereum throughout this entire consolidation. I didn't sell any of it because I expect Ethereum to do a lot better than this. Granted, Ethereum's a lot more speculative than Bitcoin. I still think that it is a solid and safe investment for right now. I think having an exit strategy is always going to be important. So I have some ideas in mind, but I haven't decided exactly when I want to exit any trades with Ethereum just yet. So we'll figure that out a little bit later, and we will now move on to EGLD. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to EGLD. With EGLD, we are seeing a lot of price appreciation. The price of EGLD has clearly been on a breakout since the consolidation, and I know a lot of people come to the channel have been waiting for this. We've been talking about it for a while, and we've been following this fairly accurately and making some pretty good predictions as far as when it's going to break out. Now, the only thing is that we have to really see what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks, because we are just making some major changes to phase 3 of staking, and those changes are going to need to have a level of stability in the Elrond network, which I think they will have. In my opinion, I think that the consolidation seems to be over, and now what we're likely going to see is we're going to see continued price movement. But obviously, I could always be wrong, right? This line that I made here, I had predicted that the price could very well go back and touch the top of the triangle and then keep moving. That's not what happened. It stayed right at the top, and it held this 20 exponential moving average, and now it's going even further up. Now, this actually shows that it's a lot more bullish than even I expected. I thought another consolidation back down to 138 was possible, but it didn't even go back there. So I had an order sitting at around 130 and I had another one at 135. Those never triggered because the price did not go back to that level. I'm leaving them open for now just in case, but I'm thinking it's less and less likely that EGLD will go back down to those levels, and less likely that any of us will be able to pick up EGLD at that price. It's always possible because remember, when you have consolidations, like especially big, gigantic ones, those consolidations can have breakouts within them. So it's always a possibility that, hang on, let me get rid of this line. It's always a possibility that with EGLD, you could see something like this. You know, you could see that the price comes up to this level and then slowly consolidates back down. If that happens, then you just have a much bigger consolidation triangle, right? Then you're creating a consolidation triangle like this, you know, even larger. And that means that you're in a much larger consolidation. Now, it's possible. So I'm not going to not tell you about the scenario because it's definitely possible that we end up in a bigger consolidation like that. But it just seems unlikely with everything happening with EGLD and the fact that so much of the circulating supply is being staked as the new staking pools are going live and more nodes are coming up. The phase 3 of staking is almost finished. We'll be into the last steps of that phase 3 staking within the next month. So as that's happening, it seems unlikely that more EGLD being locked into staking is going to drive the price down. It just seems like an unlikely scenario that we're going to end up in a much bigger consolidation. But it's possible. So you have to keep that in mind. Do your risk management. It's a possibility. It's an unlikely one, but it's always a possibility. So I'm keeping an eye on that, and I'm placing a few orders at lower levels just in case. But I'm also watching the price to see what exactly happens in case I need to adjust those orders. If I don't see it going down to 130 again and I want to keep accumulating EGLD, I might have to do it at a higher price, which means that I might have to start using some of the moving averages as my targets. Like right now, if you set an order at 168, that would be a pretty decent price because we know that it's come down and touched this blue moving average a few times. It's already touched it 1, 2, 3 times. Now, it's also not come down and touched the orange yet, so 160 might be a good price target. You might also be able to get away with 150, but getting down to the 200 exponential moving average at 140, 143, I don't know if that's going to happen yet. We need some confirmation. We need to see the price drop a little bit more to see if we're going to get the opportunity to buy at those levels again, because it's very possible we won't. You know, you may not get the opportunity to buy at those levels. You just had Coin Bureau release a video today that talked all about Elrond. So I'm going to assume that a lot of people are going to watch Coin Bureau's video today, tomorrow, and the day after, and you're going to have more people buying EGLD because they're going to see everything that he's talking about. Ironically, a lot of what he went over, we had already talked about a few weeks ago when we did like the DeFi 2.0 video. So I'm glad he did a video. He has a much bigger audience, and it's going to bring a lot more visibility to Elrond, and you might end up seeing a lot more people coming in and purchasing now because of that. And I mean, we're already kind of seeing it with volume. You remember how I talked about with Elrond that, I mean, I've talked about this with most assets, but volume moves in cycles, right? If you look at the volume down here, you're seeing something very, very clear. Okay, we're actually going to switch this to the daily so you can see it a bit better. All right, so if we do this, you're seeing something very clear here. The volume had spiked up, and throughout the entire consolidation, the volume was tapering down. Right? It was tapering down. If we do this as a downtrend, you'll see over the last couple of days, it's the first time that we're really starting to see the volume is somewhat breaking that downtrend. This could be the start of another burst of volume. And if we see volume like we saw here, that's not a circle, hang on. So that was our previous line. Let's get that back, hang on. So we had a line right there. Okay, so let's say that we hold that as a line. That was our volume downtrend, and now we have a candle that's starting to break above it, right? You can see it down there at the bottom. Okay, you see that? We're starting to break above that trend line with volume. If that keeps happening and the volume starts to hit some larger levels like it did here, or even here, or even here, the volume goes up to those levels, the price is going to skyrocket. It's going to shoot up probably way above the previous high of around 235, 240, we'll probably start hitting the 300 level if we have this much volume start coming in. So keep an eye on it. I mean, the volume hasn't even really returned yet. If you look on the daily, it's starting to return. And if it does lead to a lot more volume coming in, what's happening with phase three staking, what's happening with, the amount of EGLD being staked as far as the circulating supply goes, I think it's almost up to like 60% of the circulating supply is now staked and locked in. And now you have the 20-day holding period if you're going into a staking pool. So it's a lot more secure when it's staked. On top of that, you have Coin Bureau, who just released a video. He has hundreds of thousands of subscribers. There's going to be a lot more people talking about Elrond over the next couple of days. So seeing a burst of volume would not shock me. And if we see that, we could see some massive price appreciation. So keep it in mind. I don't think this is nearly over yet, but you have to be as safe as possible. And remember that that larger consolidation triangle possibility still is there. I don't think it's going to happen. That's just me. But the possibility is still there. If it does happen, I'm not going to be surprised. You shouldn't be either. You should be prepared. That's how you do it. All right, next we're going to move on to, actually one more thing before we move on. A couple of things with EGLD that you need to be aware of, all right? So April 5th, the max validator number increases to 3,200. That was yesterday. It says, starting on this date, people who delegate in the delegation waiting list will continue to earn 6% APY on a weekly basis for 4 more weeks. So if you are still on the delegation waiting list for Elrond EGLD, you are earning 6% as of yesterday, and you will keep earning that 6% for another 4 weeks. This is the grace period. So you have 4 weeks to move off of that waiting list and become an active delegator, moving on to a staking pool. That's the best thing for you to do. Active delegation means you're on the Elrond foundational nodes. Going to a staking provider means that you are on a staking provider that can offer you better rewards if their infrastructure and scaling can meet their demand. So keep that in mind. Start looking into it over the next few weeks. If you haven't done it yet, it's going to be important for you. April the 7th, that's tomorrow, the first rewards start coming from the new validators. So all these new nodes that are being put up by staking pools and stuff, they're going to start giving you rewards tomorrow. So if you're already staking and you've been wondering why you haven't been getting rewards, you'll start getting them tomorrow, or at least you should. Okay, May the 3rd, so that's the 4-week grace period will be over on May the 3rd. The delegation waiting list is going to stop yielding rewards to its participants. Delegators will then have to unstake their EGLD and find a suitable staking provider to delegate their EGLD and earn rewards. So what I said before, you have 4 weeks on the delegation waiting list. Keep that in mind. You can use those 4 weeks to monitor staking providers if you'd like. If you find one that you want to put your EGLD into, you can go ahead and delegate to it. And that way you won't be affected on May 3rd once the waiting list stops generating rewards, okay? So keep it in mind. You can find this on elrond.com on their blog. It has all the dates and their phase 3 staking update details and timelines. All right, make sure you check that out. It's very important. And we will just go ahead and take one more brief look at the price. Looks like Elrond, I'm going to go to Elrond on the hourly chart real quick. So actually, you know what? On the hourly chart, Elrond is hitting new peaks. So maybe right before we end, we'll come back and see if Elrond breaks higher. Because honestly, the way it's moving right now, a small burst of volume could take Elrond over 200 before we finish this video. So we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see if we have that burst, because it's looking very bullish right now. So we'll keep an eye on it. Let's put it on the 4-hour, and we'll come back and take a look at this right before we wrap up the video for the day. All right, next we're going to move on to ADA. All right, so Cardano. With Cardano, you know that the last time we checked out Cardano, I told you that it's looking very, very stable, extremely stable, and it's still looking very stable. It's had a little bit of a pump since the last time we talked. It was sitting at around $1.18 or $1.16, somewhere around there the last time we talked. And now the price has moved up. It reached a peak of about $1.34 and it's come back down. Overall, it is putting in a very, very clear pattern here. There's 2 of them, so we're going to take a look at them. One of them is bullish, one of them is bearish. So let's take a look at both patterns. Let's put that Fibonacci back where it was and lock it in place. Okay, so the first thing that we see with EGLD, I'll give you the bullish pattern. Okay, the bullish pattern is looking like this. It's a traditional consolidation triangle, and that is essentially giving us a breakout target that is not too far away. All right, I'm going to start it up here. And if we go there, that's a little uneven, so let's move this. Okay, let's redo that, all right? So we're going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to give this a top. I know that I have triangle tools and I can just use those, but I prefer not to. I prefer doing the consolidation triangles fresh based on the latest data. And then if I take my time outside of making a video, then I might add more data analytics into it. But right now, this looks pretty decent. If it keeps moving in this consolidation triangle, then that means we'd be expecting a breakout somewhere by around April the 14th. All right, that's kind of where it's moving right now. We are seeing higher lows on the way up. We're seeing lower highs on the way to the right. And if this continues, that means pressure is going to build up in this area and we could see a move out. This to me looks like the bullish scenario, which means that if this works out, we are looking for a bullish move somewhere between April the 13th through April the 16th, somewhere in that 3 to 4 day period where the price is around here. We would be looking for a move because it would be getting very constricted and the price has been very, very stable in this range. You know, you're talking about a pretty small range. The price going from about $1.08 to $1.32. Like that range has been very stable as far as price goes. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. That's one scenario. The other scenario is a little bit more bearish. It's the ascending wedge scenario. So if we look at that, basically what we're looking at here is something like this, right? The price moving up in this direction. And then something like this. Right, this is more of an ascending wedge. Now, if it keeps doing this, a lot of times these ascending wedges break bullish, or break bearish. They run out of steam, and what can happen is you can have price movements out of them, and then suddenly the price breaks down and falls. So that's also a possibility. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But right now, that ascending wedge is a little bit, you know, it's something that you just want to watch. You know, no guarantee yet. I mean, I think that EGLD, not EGLD, Cardano overall is it's a very, very interesting asset. But it's just, you know, it's had a lot of price appreciation. It's had a ton ever since it was listed on, and you can look at that ascending wedge in other ways too. You know, you can look at it the reverse with the cone at the top and it still looks bearish. But Cardano it's a great project. I own Cardano. I stake it. I think it's a good project. I think that it has a lot of potential in the future. They're releasing a lot of things similar to Elrond. You know, it has a lot of things going for it in the DeFi space. But it's also had massive price appreciation and not enough consolidation, in my opinion. EGLD had a much healthier consolidation than Cardano has. Cardano spiked up from like 8-9 cents in, you know, January of 2021, and it just blew up. It was at 15 cents in January, and now we're in April, and it's at $1.28, and it hasn't had a massive downtrend. Right? Besides this flash crash, which doesn't really count. You know, you have to see a sustained correction, and maybe it's just not had that sustained correction because it is so bullish and people don't want to sell. Maybe it doesn't need it. That's a possibility too. It is a top 10 coin, and it's been getting a lot of good press. It's been achieving its own network effect. A lot of people have been wanting to get into Cardano, so could end up not having that bearish outlook, and it could have the bullish outlook. But you got to be aware of both, and if you create your own chart and you put both those patterns in, you can look at a Fibonacci retracement and you can figure out on the way down what are some targets that you can put in buy orders on. You can also look at the VPVR and you can figure out the same thing. What are some targets that it may hit? If you think it's going to go up, then you can use your Fibonacci retracement to figure out where might be some resistance areas. Okay, and then you can extend this out if you need to. Keep it in mind, no major news on Cardano that I've seen yet, except for the fact that I think a lot of people are getting excited about its NFT space and a lot of other things that they're doing. So keep it in mind. Up or down here, I wouldn't be shocked. Cardano breaks out, wouldn't shock me. Cardano consolidates, wouldn't shock me. I'm prepared for both scenarios. And I'm planning to hold on to my Cardano. I'm not planning to sell it. I think that even if it does have a consolidation, that's just a buying opportunity to add to what I'm staking. Similarly with EGLD. If EGLD has a drop, it's just a buying opportunity for me to add to my consolidation. This, in my opinion, is still the start of the bull run. Some people think that the bull run is going to fizzle out in the next few months. I think that it's just going to go a little crazier over the next year. I think people are underestimating this bull run because the previous bull run was more speculation. This bull run is people fleeing the dollar and fiat currencies to get into more stable assets and have better options than central banks. This is why cryptocurrency was created. That's why Bitcoin exists. Look at the Genesis block of Bitcoin and read the message in there. It'll give you a little bit of an indication, if you don't already know, for why Bitcoin was created. What was the purpose? What was the idea? Read the white paper. And then knowing that all these other projects spawned off of Bitcoin to solve other problems in that same realm, you'll notice that maybe this bull run is not the same as the last one. I'll leave you with that. That's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you comment, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Check out the Twitch channel. To all the people in Twitch, we're going to get to your questions in just a few minutes. If you're interested in seeing the Q&A on Twitch, make sure that you take the link in the description below on the YouTube video. Go to the Twitch channel. You can look at the past broadcasts. Fast forward to the end. You'll be able to see the Q&A if you'd like to. That's about it for today. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'll see you again in a couple of days. Take it easy. Peace.